Hello guys, welcome to iTutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with the Unit 13 subsection 3, that is forecasting for medium and short term decisions. And forecasting for the medium and short term horizon from 1 to 6 months ahead is commonly employed for production, planning, scheduling, and financial planning decision in an organization. These methods are generally better structured as compared to the model for long term forecasting treated in subsection 2 of this chapter. And as the variable to be forecast are well known, and often historical data is available to guide in the making of a more reliable forecast. Broadly speaking, we can classify these methods into 5 categories, that is subjective of intuitive method based on an averaging of past data, that is moving average and exponential smoothing, regression model on historical data, casual or econometric model, stochastic model with the time series analysis, and box Jenkins models. And subjective or intuitive method. These methods rely on the opinion of the concerned people and are quite popular in practice. Top executives, salesmen, distributors, and consumers could all be approached to give an estimate of the future demand of a product, and a judicious aggregation adjustment of this opinion could be used to arrive at the forecast of future demand. And how such opinion polls could be systematically conducted has already been discussed on section 17.2. And however, all such a method after suffer from individual bias and subjectivity. Moreover, the underlying logic of forecast generation remain mysterious, for it relies entirely on the intuitive judgment and experiments of the forecast. It cannot be documented and programmed for use on a computer, so that no matter whether A or B or C makes the forecast, the result is the same. The other categories of method discussed in the section are characterized by well-laid procedures, so that the documentation and computerization can be easily done. And a method based on averaging of past data, that is moving average and exponential smoothing. Here is table, and table 1, monthly sales of an item and forecasting using moving average. So this is the table, and based on that, new moving average is equal to old moving average plus added period demand minus dropped period demand divided by number of period in moving average. And here is one chart also, moving average lag a trend, and moving average are out of phase for cyclic demand, moving average flattened peaks. Okay, these are the image based on that. And table 2 also, monthly sales of an item and forecast using exponential smoothing. So based on this table, here is also an analysis. Regression model on historical data. The demand of any product or service when plotted as a function of time yields a time series whose behavior may be conceived of as following a certain pattern with a random fluctuation. Some commonly observed demand pattern are shown here, and some commonly observed demand patterns are in this figure. You just go through your IGNOU study material and it will more clear. And casual or econometric model. In casual model, an attempt is made to consider the cause-effect relationship and the variable of interest, example demand, is modeled as a function of this casual variable. For instance, in trying to forecast the demand of tires of a particular kind in a certain month, it would be reasonable to assume that this is influenced by the targeted production of new vehicle for that month, and the total road mileage of existing vehicle in the past 6 months, which could be assumed to be proportional to sales of petrol in the last 6 months. Thus, one possible model to forecast the monthly demand of tires is like this. And model parameters are estimated by usual regression procedure similar to the one described in model on historical data. Construction of these structural and econometric model is generally difficult and more time consuming as compared to simple time series regression models. Nevertheless, they possess the advantage of portraying the inner mechanics of the demand, so that when changes in a certain pertinent factor occur, the effect can be predicted. The main difficulty in causal model is the selection or identification of proper variable which should exhibit high correlation and be leading for effective forecasting. And time series analysis or stochastic model, the demand or variable of interest when plotted as a function of time yields what is commonly called a time series. This plot of demand at equal time interval may show random patterns of behavior, and our objective in model in historical data was to identify the basic underlying pattern that should be used to explain the data. After hypothesizing a model, linear, parabolic or other regression was used to estimate the model parameters using the criterion of minimizing the sum of squares of errors. And another method often used in time series analysis is to identify the following four major components in a time series. That is secular trend, cyclical fluctuation due to business cycles, and seasonal variation, random or irregular variation. And the next is forecast control. Whatever be the system of forecast generation, it is desirable to monitor the output of such system to ensure that the discrepancy between the forecast and actual values of demand lies within some permissible range of random variations. A system of forecast generation is shown in figure, and from past data the system generates a forecast which is subjected to modification through managerial judgment and experience. The forecast is compared with the current data when it becomes available, and the error is watched or monitored to assess the adequacy of the forecast generation system. The moving chart is useful statistical device to monitor and verify the accuracy of a forecasting system. So here is system of forecasting generation, and whether the past demand is statistically stable, whether the present demand is following the past pattern. If the demand pattern has changed, the control chart tells how to revise the forecasting method. As long as the plotted error points keep falling within the control limits, it shows that the variations are due to chance causes and the underlying system of forecast generation is acceptable. When a point goes out of control, there is reason to suspect the validity of the forecast generation system, which should be revised to reflect these changes. And summary of this chapter, the unit has emphasized the importance of forecasting in all planning decisions, be they long term, medium term or short term. For long term planning decision, techniques like technological forecasting, collecting opinion of experts as in Delphi, or opinion polls using personal interviews or questionnaire have been surveyed. For medium and short term decision, apart from subjective and intuitive method, there is a greater variety of mathematical models and statistical techniques that could be profitably employed. There are methods like moving average or exponential smoothing that are based on averaging of past data. Any suitable mathematical function or curve could be fitted to the demand history by using least squares regression. Regression is also used in estimation of parameters of causal or econometric model. Stochastic model using Box-Jenkins methodology are a statistical advanced set of tools capable of more accurate forecasting. Finally, forecast control is very necessary to check whether the forecasting system is consistent and effective. The moving range chart has been suggested for its simplicity and ease of operation in this regard. And self-assessment exercise is here. Why is forecasting so important in business, and identify the application of forecasting long term. Already we discussed all these things. So you just go through this section and try to do this. It will help you for your term and examination. And keyword section also here. In case you feel any words are tough, you just refer this also. You will get the explanation. So this is about today's section and unit 13. In case any doubts, you can contact us. And for more MBA IGNOU videos, you just do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.
i-tutor Academy presents IGNOU MBA complete syllabus coverage classes for individual students. semester-wise subject with online and flexible timing. For more details, contact on +916 238 21785.